Hello followers, today's video will be the follow-on to my latest video, which was a product review of Upgray's watercolor set. I will put the link on the screen and it will also be down in the description below. I hope you will enjoy. As you can see, I am struggling to wet this background and add the colour with this small sized brush, so I opted to using the sponge provided, and it worked beautifully. My aim was to create this illustration using just the product provided in the set, but near the end of the piece I did decide to use a couple of different products to help give it the look that I was looking for. I was given this image a yellow undertone to represent the rising sun over the snowy scene. I tried not to put too much because I did want to try and keep as much white for the snow as possible. I didn't really plan this piece much in advance. I just put a rough base sketch and I will just try and keep to the idea that I have in my head. It was very difficult though. I've never really painted snow before, so I found that this was the most difficult part, mapping out exactly where the snow was going to be and if it would look how I wanted it to. I would say I didn't really do a good job at this, but this is one of the things I fixed later with some different products. I have been doing this sort of painting a lot more though over the last few years. I do like how the overall look can be. I'm much softer and it has a much softer look, and it also means that you can work with different styles a bit more. It also means you can work with different styles a bit more. I wanted these two to be playing. I thought maybe they could be having a snowball fight. I'm just adding the base colours here. I was trying to keep the trying to keep the colours all very warm in tone, but like I said earlier, I was finding this a little bit difficult. I usually do line art to make the painting process easier to define, a little bit more like colouring in a colouring book. It always makes it much easier to know exactly what paint goes where and what kind of details you want to put in. As with watercolour, you're always wanting to go from the lightest colours to the darkest colours. Sometimes when you start adding the dark colours, you can become a lot more nervous because you don't want to lose those light shades underneath. Here I am just using darker shades, little bit by bit, to add the shadows and some texture. The set came with some metallic paints, which are my absolute favourite thing to use at the moment. I add them to nearly all my paintings these days. This is a gold colour. I thought it would be nice to add some little star decorations to the trees. Here on the stonework of the building, I used the dry sponge to create some texture. I don't use sponge enough in my paintings. I think I will have to get some more and use them in the future. They do bring the texture so easily, and they're really nice for blending too. I am using one of the finer brushes from the set to do the outlines and finer details. As fine as using a pen or a nib with ink, but like I said earlier, they give the image a softer look, which can look quite pretty. The colours I'm using are mostly in a dark neutral brown. Sometimes I add a little bit of the base colour of the section I am working on to kind of make everything look a little bit smoother and less jarring. Here I'm just adding this little pipe just to fill in that little gap there. I wanted to add a bit more detail to that area. Here I'm just adding a few more details to the piece, and I will just be finalising all the finishing touches. And I think that that is mostly all the painting finished. So off camera, I unfortunately didn't get around to recording this bit. I used white gouache to go over the areas of the snow. I did make a couple of mistakes during this painting, particularly on the window ledge, so I had to fix it. I couldn't leave it that way, which is why I decided in the end to slightly change my plans for the picture. It was worth it though, because it definitely looks a lot nicer now that it has those bits added. Then I decided I wanted a little bit more definition, particularly around the characters. There were lots of areas actually which I enjoyed it just having the watercolour, but I did find it very hard to get these characters, which were already very small. So I thought I would use a pen, and I used the Faber-Castell waterproof pens. And this one was in the colour of sepia. I just used this to define a few lines and make things look a little bit neater. I think this sort of painting does look nice, but for the subject that I chose, it didn't really suit. The definition would benefit this piece a lot more than some other things I've done in the past, but that's just the way that these things go sometimes. This is the final result. So I was happy with how this piece came out in the end. I did struggle a little bit with some of these watercolours, which is something I discussed in the review I did in my last video. And also it was quite difficult to use exactly all the things that were provided. Like I said, I could have done with either a very, very fine brush or using the ink, but also I should have done a slightly better job at creating the snow effect, maybe planning it a little bit more in advance. But I've never really painted snow before, at least not in a very long time, so this was just another learning experience for me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.